So the full sentence, sir.
As we open this town hall with prayer today, find a good word for us to do. You made us in your image and made us. If we will not turn to your word, if we will not return to justice, we pray that you would bring those
In November.
Great. And finally, and we're going to get to everybody's, we're going to get the questions, but before we begin, Mary Trump.
Thank you. I want to make something very clear. The most embarrassing moment in our country's history was 2016, the day Donald Trump was elected. If we are unfortunate enough to put him in the White House again in 2024, it would be an unthinkable tragedy. This man has one policy position, and it's to keep himself out of prison. We saw tonight that he does nothing but lie. Do not let the fact that he lies loudly and with impunity blind you to the fact.
Too big to rig. Too big. We want to be too big to rig. You know, there gets to be a point where they can't rig it, so we have an expression. Charlie and I were just talking. It's called too big to rig. I just went through a rigged trial in New York with a highly conflicted, and I mean highly conflicted, judge, where there was no crime. It was made up, fabricated stuff. They didn't want to bring the case. They could have brought the case 7 years ago. Less than 5 months from now, and we're going, and I'll tell you what, we have to change the system. We have to straighten out what's going on in these courts. We got a rigged deal going, this whole country, and we've got to do it. And those appellate courts have to step up and straighten things out, or we're not going to have a country any longer. But we're going to win the great state of Arizona, and we're going to tell crooked Joe Biden, you're fired. You're doing a lousy job, the worst job, the worst president in history. Joe, you're fired. And it's all unsustainable. But the Biden invasion is no accident. It's a deliberate demolition of our sovereignty and of our borders. Somehow, somebody's going to explain to us why they would want this to happen. I guess it's probably votes. And I have to say, Arizona is being turned into a dumping ground for the dungeons of the third world. They're all coming in. In Venezuela, crime, think of this, Venezuela. Next time we'll meet in Venezuela, it'll be safer. In Venezuela, crime is down 72%. Because it's called, we answer you ask a question, we answer the question. Yes, darling, please.
Thank you, Mr.
Again, I say it all the time, he's the single worst president in the history of our country. You know, until I got indicted. I got indicted 4 times. Can you believe it? I never spoke. You know, I spoke. I'm a politician, I guess. I can't stand the name, but I'm a politician, I guess. I ran. I won. The only thing I did wrong was I beat somebody that I wasn't supposed to beat. We won the election in 2016. Years, somebody else said 78 years. I say it's in the history. You look at the cost of food, and you look at the cost of energy, and you see where it is, and I think we're almost 50%.
America's unique ability to bring countries together is an undeniable source of our strength and our power. We know the dark forces that these heroes fought against 80 years ago. They never fade. aggression and greed, the desire to dominate and control, to change borders by force, these are perennial. The struggle between a dictatorship and freedom is unending. Here in Europe, we see one stark example. Ukraine has been invaded by a tyrant bent on domination. Ukrainians are fighting with extraordinary courage, suffering great losses, but never backing down. The United States and NATO and a coalition of more than 50 countries standing strong with Ukraine. We will not walk away. Because if we do, Ukraine will be subjugated, and it will not end there. Ukraine's neighbors will be threatened. All of Europe will be threatened. And make no mistake, the autocrats of the world are watching closely to see what happens in Ukraine, to see if we let this illegal aggression go unchecked. We cannot let that happen. To surrender to bullies, to bow down to dictators, is simply unthinkable. Were we to do that, it means we'd be forgetting what happened here in these hallowed beaches. Make no mistake, we will not bow down. We will not forget. Let me end with this. History tells us freedom is not free. The price of unchecked tyranny is the blood of the young and the brave. In their generation, in their hour of trial, the Allied forces of D-Day did their duty. Now the question for us is, in our hour of trial, will we do ours? We're living in a time when democracy is more at risk across the world than any point since the end of World War II, since these beaches were stormed in 1944. Now we have to ask ourselves, will we stand against tyranny, against evil, against crushing brutality of the iron fist? Will we stand for freedom? Will we defend democracy? Will we stand together? My answer is yes, and only can be yes. We're not far off from the time when the last living voices of those who fought and bled on D-Day will no longer be with us. So we have a special obligation. We cannot let what happened here be lost in the silence of the years to come. We must remember it, must honor it, and live it. And we must remember the fact that they were heroes here that day does not absolve us from what we have to do today. Democracy is never guaranteed. Every generation must preserve it, defend it, and fight for it. That's the test of the ages. In memory of those who fought here, died here, literally saved the world here, let us be worthy of their sacrifice. Thank you very much, and may God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.
Hello to everyone at the Danbury Institute and to all of the wonderful pastors and faith leaders, very respected people, gathered for the Southern Baptist Convention annual meeting. That's a big deal. I want to thank each and every one of you for your tremendous devotion to God and to country and your tremendous support of me. And I hope I've earned it because we've done things that nobody thought were possible to have gotten done. These are difficult times for our nation, and your work is so important. We can't afford to have anyone sit on the sidelines. Now is the time for us to all pull together and to stand up for our values and for our freedoms. And you just can't vote Democrat. They're against religion. They're against your religion in particular. You cannot vote for Democrats, and you have to get out and vote. We have to defend religious liberty, free speech, innocent life, and the heritage and tradition that built America into the greatest nation in the history of the world. But now we are, as you know, a declining nation. And I might add, we are a seriously declining nation. Seriously, and so sad. I know that each of you is protecting those values every day, and I hope we'll be defending them side by side for your next 4 years. These are going to be your years because you're going to make a comeback like just about no other group. I know what's happening. I know where you're coming from and where you're going. And I'll be with you side by side. So again, thank you once again for everything you do. And you have to get out and vote. Our religious leaders have to get their incredible people that love them so much and respect them so much, have to get them out to vote. God bless you and God bless America. Millions of people will continue pouring in, and they're coming right through the border like they have never come through before. What he signed means nothing. In fact, it makes it easier. In my opinion, it opens the border still further. We have people coming into our country. We're going to end up making, and I say this and I say it all the time, November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. We only have a few hours. We don't have enough time. And now, by the way, it's 110, but it doesn't feel it to me, right? So we'll stay out here for a little while. If anybody gets tired, you'll let me know. And if anybody goes down, if you start going down, we have people, they'll pick you up right away. They'll throw water. You know, they were so worried. Everybody was so worried yesterday about you. And they never mentioned me. I'm up here sweating like a dog. Secret Service said, we have to make sure everyone's safe. I said, what about me? Oh, we never thought of that. They don't think about me. I'm working my ass off. I'm working hard. This is hard work. If we win Nevada, we win the whole thing. We win the whole thing. I mean, I'm looking back there as far as the eye can see. Get out, vote. We're going to make America great again, greater than ever before, and we're going to do it fast. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you, everybody.
The first debate of the 2024 presidential cycle is on Thursday, and it's a historic matchup between a current and former president. A new AP NORC poll shows that Americans will be tuning in. About 4 in 10 Americans say they'll be watching it live, and more will be watching clips afterward or following commentary around the debate. The same AP NORC survey found that Americans think the stakes are high for both candidates. According to the survey, about half of Americans think that the debate will be very or extremely important for Biden's presidential campaign, and about 4 in 10 think it will be very or extremely important for Trump's campaign.